Hey kindergarten, welcome back to today's reading lesson. So you should have just watched our video on our 3 new vocabulary words. So we had feast, finished, and needs. Remember kneading when you're kneading the bread? So I'm going to read aloud this story in just a second, and I want you to, when you hear one of our vocabulary words, including senses and explore, I want you to do the motion that we've talked about this week so that I can remember, or so that you can remember what the word means. All right, so before we get started, let's look at this picture that we have in front of us. So we read Senses at the Seashore, and we said that that was nonfiction. And is nonfiction true or pretend? Nonfiction is true, right? So looking at this, does this look like a drawing that someone drew, or does it look like a real photograph that you took with a camera? Yeah, it looks like it came from a camera, right? So that's usually a clue that the story is going to be nonfiction. Nonfiction means real or true. All right, so this is a story about a family, and what does it look like they're doing? Yeah, it looks like they are cooking. So this story is called A Feast of the Senses. And remember, we're talking about our 5 senses and how they help us learn. So A Feast of the Senses. The kitchen is one of the most popular rooms in any home. This is because the smells, sights, and sounds from a kitchen tell us what we are about to eat. In many cultures, people celebrate special events with a feast. Oh, there's one of our words, feast. What do we do for feast? Good, you pretend like you're eating feast. It can take days to prepare all of the food. Many people start learning to cook at a young age. They use all 5 of their senses, smell, touch, sight, hearing, and taste, to become good cooks. Learning to cook takes some practice. Get ready for a feast of the senses. Which sense do you think we'll use first? Let's make a prediction. A prediction is a guess. What do you think they're going to use first? What sense do you think they're going to talk about? All right, let's see if your guess is right. So let's go to our next page. There we go. Ooh, I think I can see a vocabulary word we're going to use here. When you cook, your sense of smell is very important. Good cooks smell different spices such as pepper and cinnamon to figure out what flavors go together best. Your sense of smell and touch tell you when food is fresh. When you shop for a fruit or vegetable, you smell it and you feel it to make sure that it is ripe. For instance, if a lime is too hard, it is not ripe enough. If it is very soft, it's probably too ripe. If it smells fresh and feels firm, you will want to buy it. So look down here. Let's look at this middle picture. Do you see a lime in there? Where's a lime? Yeah, this green one right here, that's a lime. Do you want your lime to be really hard? No. Do you want your lime to be really soft? No. You want it to be right in the middle, kind of firm. So that's using your sense of touch. And then you can also smell the food to make sure it smells good. You don't want to buy food if it smells bad. Your sense of touch tells you when food is ready to be put in the oven. As you can see up here, a woman is making bread for the feast. As she works the dough with her hands, it feels tough and lumpy at first. Then after she kneads it, knead was one of our words. Remember, what do you do? Knead. Remember, she's pushing that bread all around, getting the dough kneaded. After she kneads it more, it feels soft and smooth. Her sense of touch tells her that the bread is ready to bake. So when it feels lumpy, was it time to go in the oven? No, not yet. She wants it to feel soft and smooth, and she can tell by using her sense of touch when it's ready to go in the oven. All right, so we've talked about touch and smell. What are we going to use next, I wonder? Sizzle! Fresh onions are poured into a hot frying pan. Blub, blub, blub. A pot of soup simmers on the stove. Ding! The oven timer goes off. So sizzle, blub, 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 and ding! What sense are you using when you are experiencing those things? Those are sounds, right? So you're using your sense of hearing, right? Cooks are always using their sense of hearing. Different sounds tell them what is happening to the food as it cooks. The sounds of cooking also tell cooks when to begin the next step in the recipe. When the sizzle of the onions turns into a soft hiss, the onions are cooked. Sight is another helpful sense in the kitchen. Raw onions are white or yellow, while cooked onions are clear. So when you chop up an onion, it might be white. There's white onions or there's yellow onions. But then when you put them on a pot on the stove, you know that they're ready when they look clear. When they're no longer just white or yellow, they look clear. Sight is also very helpful to bakers. For example, when a baker looks in the oven, she can see that the dough has set and risen and turned brown. The bread is finished. Oh, finished was one of our words. What do we do for finished? Remember? Done. The bread is finished baking. Your five senses give you information about your cooking all the time. All you have to do is pay attention. So on this page, we talked about our sense of hearing for those sounds in the kitchen and our sense of seeing. So we've done touching, smelling, seeing, hearing. What sense have we not talked about yet? And it's probably the best one when it comes to cooking. Yeah, our sense of taste. So let's see if our last page talks about our sense of taste. Ooh, look at this. They all look like they are so happy and they are ready to start their feast. Now it's time for the sense you've probably been waiting for. Taste. After all, eating is all about enjoying the taste of food, right? Here's a special secret about cooking. When you prepare a feast, you get to taste the meal along the way. Cooks use their sense of taste to test the flavors of the foods as they cook. That way, they can add more spices, cook a dish for a bit longer, or make other changes to the recipe to make it super delicious. Finally, it's time for the feast to begin. The guests are hungry. They are eager to explore. What do we do for explore? Good, they're eager to explore and look around all the different kinds of food. If the cooks used all of their senses well in the kitchen, everyone will be happy. All right. So this story talked about our senses again and when we use them in the kitchen. So what was the setting of the story? Where were they in this story? Good. They were in the kitchen or in their house, right? So the setting is the kitchen and the house. And our characters, who are our characters? Characters are the people in the story. Yeah, the family. The family were the characters. All right. So hopefully you might go home and help make something in the kitchen and use your five senses while you're helping to cook. Nice job.